Brian, my email address, and if any of you have thoughts, our hearing is February. If you have thoughts, you might drive by or walk by. If you have thoughts about the state of the building, we'd love to hear from you.
Sir, are you, aside from our input on the exterior, do you also want a letter of support or anything along those lines?
We would like one, yes.
Okay. Yeah, Ryan.
I was just going to say, I remember the last time we discussed this property, there were some of the board members questioning the entry, exit.
There's 4 units. All of them will have 2 entrances, or two means of access. They will all have a entrance to the building and emergency access, but there's no need for that. If you drive by slowly on the alley, you'll actually see where the 4th unit, the one furthest to the east, has a recently installed. See some outside how the access provided for the second access.
Has any of this same discussion been discussed with the gentleman and his family that lives next door, or the same house that you had the picture along next door to it, as far as the structure?
The gentleman to the south,
yes,
and the gentleman to the east, we've had discussions with, and we're going to meet with them again and show them. They just really want to see the renovation that's moving. So we have reached out to Mr. Hendricks and Mr. Carmine.
Well, if we, I think everybody's got to receive the packet. I know there's some board members who are not here. We can provide that to them. And then if you want to send we'll provide feedback to you, and then by email contact you about a letter of support in the next few weeks if that works for you.
Great. Thanks for the time very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on our agenda, we have public safety update. Assistant in the Police Department Chief.
Good afternoon or good evening. Thank you for letting me come here today. I got North District, your community resource officer from North District here as well. But I wanted to pay you all a visit tonight. Like I said, I'm Chris Bailey. I'm the Assistant Chief of Police, recently appointed along with Randy Taylor, who is your chief. He is planning on being here at some point himself throughout the year, but with the hundreds of meetings just on North District, and now you multiply that from all 6 of our city's service districts, it's going to take a long time to get everywhere that he wants to. So I thought I'd come tonight and answer any questions that you have, but also this is the first meeting in this capacity that I've been to. I was a North District commander for a few years, so I'm very familiar with this association and these neighborhoods. And the time that I served as a commander was a little more contentious when we came to these meetings. There's a lot going on in the neighborhood, both north and south of here. So I'm glad that we were able to calm that down. And I think Councilor Barth was along for that ride, unfortunately, as well. And now newly elected councilor in the community. So I want you to know that this district and this neighborhood association is special to me in my heart, and I'm glad it was the first one that I chose to visit in this capacity. Do you have any updates for me as far as you-wise?
There's no updates at this time. We looked in the area. There's nothing major. I know last time I was here, I think it was 2 or 3 months ago. Normally, you guys see Maxwell, Officer Michael Maxwell. He's out there. I remember there were some concerns about packages being stolen. You guys stepped up to people found that. If you guys have any concerns, feel free to come up to me. I handle a nuisance abatement concerns right now in North District. So we've really been attacking the area south of you, vacant homes that are down there. BTNA. If you have any questions or concerns, please come up to the office.
Okay, so I had earlier, I had the opportunity to file on go with who did incredibly. We were able to start part of my district of 30th Street, and it's a really busy night, but the thing that struck hearing from other officers and waiting back now about
amount of what's all for crime that's happening with all the businesses 38th Street. And what I didn't say I learned that night was that there's a lot was pretty early raising shop from this along here, and some of them have quality. And so, and it was very difficult for the suspect to say. But according to CBS, that's one of the reasons why they have made that with fast desert problem. But I'm wondering if those sort of, is there, have they anything the that their ability to like that? Is there any way or
That's an ongoing problem. I think most of you are aware that a lot of people that are suffering from substance abuse and mental health and formerly homeless are housed in those apartment buildings along Ridley Street and 38th Street South. A lot of times they're put together with like issues, like struggles with the support system, and so they end up liquor store, which opens at 7 in the morning, loitering behind the CVS. These are the issues that we faced, years ago, and there's no real easy solutions to those. But I would say the businesses, you're expanding now. You know about the D-Link program that was announced a couple of weeks ago that allows businesses to work with some identified contractors or work within certain specifications that will allow you to install cameras and then provide access to those cameras to our officers that work out of the analysis center at the regional operations center. They're not monitored live 24/7, but when the radio runs come out, the officers that work in there, and soon, hopefully, at the district, we'll be able to pull those cameras up and get descriptions, and they also act as a deterrent. This is based off a model in Detroit called Project Greenlight, and they saw some significant reductions in all types of crime when gas stations and other businesses put this flashing green light, outside their store that said, "Hey, our cameras." The Detroit Police Department are allowed to access those cameras, right? So that's one way as a deterrent. Is it going to stop it all? No, I don't think it will, but it's certainly a deterrent. So as we expand that program, it'd be something to look at, getting the businesses together to find out, if that's something that can help in it. And the McDonald's VP at 38th and Illinois has consistently been one of the places that have had the largest run load that really absorbs a lot of the attention of the officers up here for disturbances, shoplifting, all those things that go on. So they had security for a while, but that kind of went away, which is also a deterrent. The same thing with CVS. The CVS had to hire security for a while, which reduced their issues of pharmacy robberies. So there are some things we can do, but we should get together and discuss that. But I think D-Link is a solution that may help as a deterrent. Obviously, not going to stop it all, but the underlying issues.
And one other thing that someone else is if there's someone who has other issues in the but is there a way for someone to own, is this beneficial or someone owns the property and say, okay, person X has been proven to be a detrimental person on our property, therefore we're as commercial. Let me understand that.
Yeah, you can, if you're a private business owner, you can prevent people from coming. Typically, they need to be warned, but what the courts expect that the person who's in charge of the business be the one that trespasses them, but also that person's going to have to come to court and testify the fact that they're the ones that trespass from misdemeanor. But yeah, those can be, and we database of them, like communication center, and court district, may also that same thing.
Well, that's
Assistant Chief, there's a document too, right?
Yes. there's a document.
I'm sorry, didn't know, recognize my
Yes,
hand.
ma'am. Yes.
We were having a different kind of meeting, and you guys do with my mind, but you do it at Target Park, the roll call.
The mobile roll call,
Now,
yes.
is it possible that you could do some roll calls at the CDS or on their parking lot just to
Yep.
bring that to the
I
fair?
think you work with your community relations officer or Mike Maxwell and tell them, request that, especially when the months get warmer. We want our officers out of that building and out of 30th and out of Washington Park and into the community as much as possible. North District is a vast district, and so having that headquarters where it is there's a lot of places that don't get to see those cops in and out. So absolutely.
To play out what Sabay said, is there any chance that some of the officers who, in between calls, they're kind of stationed outside Crown Hill, and one or two of them could reposition themselves towards like 38th and Illinois or in that area? Yep. I know there's a restroom there at Crown Hill, and that's why that's one of the reasons they're there. Yeah. But is there any way we could have a couple of them go over that way?
Yeah, we will make sure that the commander knows that they move around a little bit. Yes, sir.
Was that camera program with business owners through Block safety?
No. Flock is something completely different. We do utilize flock cameras, or not. So they're privately owned cameras. The businesses pay for cameras, they pay for the installation, they pay for the access. There's no cost to the city whatsoever. All they do is they grant that access through Genetech, nerd stuff that allows us to pull it in through the money that taxpayers did pay for the new Motorola ad and RMS and all those things. A lot of money, $32 million. Yes.
My question is probably for the BTNA community. Can we reach out to Willer Mission, Salvation Army that are doing things in downtown at a higher level? And we reach out and partner with them to maybe do some kind of satellite work in our community to help them and provide services and maybe some kind of meal, because they've kind of controlled at a higher level, better level downtown. And maybe we need to partner to understand how, so that we can help them and help to make some of their problems go away. I know we can do all these things, but it's not going to help because they'll continue to.
Yeah, law enforcement efforts and things are futile. Really, the last thing we want to do is take a person who's suffering from mental health or substance abuse. Fortunately, the way our system is set up, that is one of the few options there. But we're trying to get better on that. But it's way above the city level. We closed all the hospitals, and the story about it. Struggle. Yes, sir.
Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. I always enjoy this meeting. In the past, obviously, this cafeteria is time and I think that actually or not. I particularly like objectivity. Things that is wrong, and especially now with the year closing, it's been like that 19 with probably not higher than the expected.
Yeah. It's help with our defense.
Yeah, we switched these reporting systems. And, it's much more difficult for us now to pull statistics in a quick way than trying to work those kinks with Motorola. But you can go to crimereports.com. You can type in your address and see what's going on around you. And you can also register any privately owned cameras that you may have. No one sees that with the police department. We can't get access to. We don't want access to your cameras. But let's say there's a violent crime that occurred right over here, and our detectives go door to door, to see if they can get any information. That eliminates you having to talk to the police sometimes right at their front door when they know there's a camera there. But that crimereports.com can get on there and attach to our reporting system, and you can see what's going on in your neighborhood. Delayed a little bit, but you can use that tool.
It provides 6 months, so you can see a little bit of history there. We'll work on getting.
Thank you for letting me come here, sir. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah, congratulations. Thank you.
Next, we're going to Abby from the prosecutor's office.
Hi, my name is Abby, and I work with the Marion County Prosecutor's Office. You're probably used to seeing Deputy Prosecuting Attorney Rob Reel come and speak. He is still a Deputy Prosecuting Attorney, but he will be focusing more on screening cases at the local district as well as in the courtroom. So since I'm doing neighborhood outreach, I will be attending these meetings and giving you information. I have put my card up here if you need it. I have been with the office. I think I've spoke to you guys before, but I've been with the office for about 17 years, just doing community outreach now. I wanted to let you know of a couple things we have going on. First and foremost, Terry Curry is no longer our Marion County prosecutor. He had to take a step back due to some health issues. And so we now have prosecutor Brian Mears. And I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware of that. We do have a mediation center that is opening in Indianapolis. And I don't know if you have heard about it, but what we are trying to do, a lot of times law enforcement gets called out to issues that don't warrant an arrest and don't have to go to court or charge someone. We just need someone to literally sit between one party and another party and be neutral and try to settle it without having to go to court or seeking and retaining an attorney. So now the Marion County Prosecutor's Office is opening the James Waters Mediation Center, and this will be housed at 10th and Rural. We are now looking for volunteers because although we will have a full-time staff, we're trying to get people into the community to come in and learn how to mediate cases and mediate amongst yourselves out in the community. So I did leave my card and my information's up here. If you would like to sign up to learn how information on volunteering or the James Water Mediation Center, please don't hesitate to contact me. Also, we have the Marion County Prosecutor's Office on January 23rd. Is our 10th annual David Moore blood drive. I put some flyers up here. They're going to be 2 locations, one at 42nd and College, and then one downtown at 251 East Ohio Street, which is the Marion County Prosecutor's Office main office. So those are really the 2 things that I have right now for update. Did anybody have any questions about anything that we're doing with the prosecutor's office or for me? Yes, ma'am.
No, I have questions. I'm really excited about what's going on down there, but yes, when you say mediation,
yes,
you ask for volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that came to my mind
Mm-hmm.
is anybody doing anything as outreach to the youth to teach them
Yes.
mediation skills?
My 17 years is formerly in child abuse, child sex crimes, and fatality. So that's my heart. So yes, we are in hopes of starting. Well, I'm just going to say yes. I would hope that here in the future, in the next few months, I will have some good news about something with mediation in regards to juveniles and younger. And my thing of what I've seen and working in the crimes that I have, I always wanted to kind of focus on the 14 to 17 years of age. And now after 17 years, I think we need to go down to the 5 and 6 year olds and 7-year-olds. We really need to start, because I do feel that anything is taught, you can grow from it, you can share it with others. But I really do think I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I don't have anything exactly, but hopefully that's something that we will kind of venture into, focusing more on the youth than the adult. Yes.
Mark Texter, will he hit that?
Who?
Mark Texter?
Yes, Mark Taxter.
Yes.
Actually, it's going to be Julie Fiddler will be the director. She's formerly with the mayor's office, and she will be the director of that center.
And you said 10th and Rural.
10th and Rural.
What location is that at?
It is literally right. It's on the
Is that in
southeast
Finn's
corner. It's on the southeast corner, right across from the gas station.
Okay.
They've done a lot to 10th and Rural. I don't know if anybody's been there recently. They have condemned and tore down. INHP has invested a lot of money, properties, the homes. The gas station, the low hot gas station, still there, working on that. But you should go to 10th and Rural. It's changed quite a bit. Impressed. Baby steps, but fingers crossed. All right. Thank you, everyone. Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, from the mayor's office.
Hello, everyone. My name is Natalie Van Dongen. If we have not yet met, I am your mayor's neighborhood advocate. Many of you know Mo McReynolds. She's formerly held my position. Right now she's with the Office of Sustainability, and you get me. So sorry, maybe not sorry, not her. I don't have much right now. Things are pretty quiet. I'm sure that will change soon enough. But I do have 3 announcements. First, the city offers free Christmas tree disposal. So if you have a natural Christmas tree and you haven't gotten rid of it yet, you can go to 9 different drop-off locations across the city. They're all park locations. I know Broad Ripple Park is one of them. But if you go to Indy.gov and type in Christmas tree, it'll be the first tab that pops up. That is for the remainder of January. And it's from morning to night. So, you know, throw with that. The second announcement. Make sure that with all the wet weather we are having, you are keeping your storm drains clear. I used to live in Butler, Tarkington. I know how much of an issue backed up drains are. And let me tell you, keeping the storm drains adjacent to your properties clear will help alleviate that issue a ton. All it takes is one property having sticks and debris in their storm drains to kind of mess up the whole system. So when you are anticipating rain, when you're anticipating a large weather event like we seem to be getting all the time now, just make sure that you are looking at your storm drain and trying to keep them as clear as possible, and tell your neighbors to do the same, tell your parents, tell your kids, tell everyone to clean out their storm drains.
Yeah, I had asked that when they do street cleaning, if they could coordinate with neighborhoods and let them know when they're doing the street cleanings, and maybe the residents can also help clean the drains at the same time. It's just a thought.
Yeah, I know that they're working on the outreach component of street sweeping now, and I haven't gotten many updates as far as that is concerned, but there's more information being added to Indy.gov at all times. So if you're ever curious about street sweeping, Indy.gov is a great resource for that. Yeah.
Just one quick concern of residents on 46th Street in between Boulevard and I think Kenwood. They live in that block. And when they're cleaning the streets at night about 4 a.m., I guess they do it on a multiple times throughout the week, that they tend to sit and stall in that block and let the equipment run. And the equipment is really loud and the lights are flashing on the houses. There are children in that area, so it wakes them up. And then there's been breakdowns of the equipment and they just let it run until an hour or 2 later. So just in that block, it seems to be a lot of.
Okay, well,
it's in between
46.
On 46th Street, in between Boulevard and First Street, Graceland.
Okay, I will look into that. Thank you very much for letting me know.
And I can forward an email I received.
Oh, that would be perfect. And then the third announcement I have is about the Monon Trail widening. For those of you that don't know, the Monon Trail is beginning a process of being widened by 4 feet, 2 feet on either side from 10 to 96. So that's going to be really cool. It's going to really help the flow of traffic and stuff throughout the Monon Trail and make it more accessible for even more people to enjoy that trail. Right now, they are starting with the preliminary processes of tree removal and just stuff like that, removing debris from the area. So if you see that happening, that is why. I know that they are working with KIB and Indy Parks to just make sure that the beautification of that area is kept up. So I know that whenever the city has to take out trees, they normally try to accommodate with KIB to do a tree planting in its place and stuff like that. I know that that's a concern for a lot of residents. We don't want to see our trees go away. I completely feel you there. But I did just want to let everyone know in case you did see that and like, what's going on? And then that resurfacing project goes out to bid this month, so we should know pretty soon who's going to be doing that project and what the timeline will look like. So I'll make sure to provide updates.
You're going to do an update on the bridge? Then they get passed?
Sorry?
They have public bridge past the bridge, 2021, over 38th Street?
I'm know anything?
The last update I had on that was
I'll try to get an update on that as well. I don't have one up. Yeah.
Before you go paving all the different Monon, might be wise to pave some of Meridian Street where the holes are so deep. This is to end up having the streets are tight, and people are going to actually access this product.
Yeah, I
Right.
completely understand.
And I really, it's all the way from 38th Street, all the way on up to probably 2nd, which is not all that much traffic.
Yeah, I know we're getting into pothole season. At this point, I know it just seems like we're gonna
These
beat
are
over the
more,
head
these are
with it.
more crater seasons. These are craters. They
That's
are
why
potholes.
I'm well aware of that. Like, John Marathon, you're a member of the city. So this morning, for example, this was featured on Meridian Street, if you can see that.
Right.
And I contacted DPW and they went out within a few hours and took care of the biggest difficulty that one. I told them the same thing that you are just saying, and they're
Just to avoid them.
yeah, they're
You are
it's
definitely going
hugely
to have
impactful
accidents.
into your car. So I'm aware of that, and I tuned in DPW, so hopefully you'll see some changes.
Yes, and I know it gets repetitive, but please, anytime you see one, even if you are sure that someone has reported it, call into the Mayor's Action Center, go on to Request Indy and report those potholes. It all goes into the bigger picture of showing DPW where the areas of most need are. So just make sure to keep on that. Yeah, and I would be happy to follow up with any of those cases. Yeah, our timeline for pothole repair is about 14 days. So they're really working on that, and especially with the street maintenance crews that are more neighborhood based that they implemented last pothole season, they've really gotten that time down quite a bit.
I agree. I just.
Right, no, I completely understand.
It's very difficult because of the way the red line also has caused our juggling the lane, and then you get a pothole right after it.
Juggling the lane, red line juggling the lanes on Meridian Street?
Well, even, when you're juggling, coming down from,
Oh, you mean south of 38th Street?
yeah, to 38th Street, and right there, the signage is terrible. You have that middle lane that you can go straight, you have one lane that you can only turn, and then the other lane, you're supposed to be able to turn left onto 38th Street. But the signage start at 42nd, whatever this street is, right out here, 40th Street. And should start at 40th Street, indicating that there's changes in lanes. Because what's happening is you have that full-time traffic, that big traffic coming down in the morning, and they're all trying to change lanes at once because they don't know what they're supposed to.
Okay, so we need to contact Indigo about that,
Right,
new signs,
right,
okay.
And it's just poor signage. I mean,
Okay.
That's the main key to it.
Was there another? Yeah.
Yeah, just more about how you work. We have seen it working. I'm wondering from your role as rather than just the on off. I will.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I'm thinking about moving forward. I want to make sure that when I come, I'm giving consistent messaging that is helpful, adequately relaying the news from the city and from the mayor's office to make sure that you guys are in the know, but also advocating on your behalf as well. So if you ever have any goals that you would like to see met by me, then please feel free to share that. I'm still relatively new to this position as of November, so I trust that you guys will let me know exactly what you want from me. But yeah, I'm definitely all ears when it comes to what you'd like to see from this position, especially because as the year progresses, there will be changes internally with the mayor's office as well in what this position is. And if I can take any of your feedback and advocate for that moving forward as we are kind of restructuring this position potentially, I would love to do that. So make sure, unfortunately, I am fresh out of cards. I got a big stack and then they all got swept away from me at the last meeting I was at. But all of my information is online. Email is definitely the best way to reach me. It's the easiest thing to keep track of. But my desk and mobile phone are both on there as well.
Natalie, are you still doing office hours here?
Yes, so I have office hours from 2 to 3 on Mondays here at the MLK Center, and then that would probably be the easiest for all of Butler Tarkington, but maybe you are, you know, working up north or something. I also have Tuesday office hours at Porter's Books and Breads from 10 to 11, that's in Lawrence, and then from 1 to 2 at the Nora Library. And then, of course, email me if you guys would like to meet one-on-one. We can always sit down and talk or whatever. Yeah. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Next, we're gonna have Councilman Bart talk to us about the Clarendon Road project.
Okay, so again, I'm John Barth. I'm the District 7 counselor. Basically 30, I want to stand right by you.
Yeah, I know.
You think I represent 30th Street, 73rd Street between MLK and College. And so since I've been elected in the fall, I've mentioned I've been doing a lot of focus on crime issues, meeting with the IMP, the prosecutor, meeting with neighborhood leaders, talking those issues through, on infrastructure, as we just discussed, also thinking long-term about infrastructure, especially the cold and warming cycle that's causing a lot more possible climate change. What the state can do to address that within its purview as well, but also dealing with a lot of nuts and bolts issues around zoning and also some other infrastructure improvement changes that are coming. And so as Brian mentioned, we have a repaving that's coming up soon between 38th Street and Butler campus. Clarendon, right?
Yeah, Clarendon up to Hampton.
Up to Hampton, thank you. Which is great. We all support that and want that to happen as per the plan work earlier. But what we've got some more input in the last week or so that the project is going extremely well. There's savings there, and so between 42nd and Hampton, they are able to add sidewalks. That is great news. The only issue is kind of the parking controls on. Help me remember the details. Is it going south or going north? Well, along there, but I've been through there several times, looking at it and trying to gauge what that reaction would be. I think in the Vice President, it appears as if there's a lot of rentals there, student housing. So I don't think my only concern would be from a Butler perspective and the parking ongoings from parking living so close to campus. Would that be a parking impact? It did all back and forth. President, chief staff, who didn't would be supportive, but I wanted to bring in to respond to BPW. I think, Mr. Vice President, you had an idea that I would like to have you put forward, and then we can talk about that.
Yeah, so besides John's contact with this project, Michael Kaltenmark, for those of you who don't know, he is with Butler University. He's not here tonight because he just got a new kidney, and very successfully, and he cannot, well, come out here yet. However, Butler is actually investing some funds in this project for the repaving as well as for the infrastructure, the pedestrian infrastructure between 42nd and Hampton. He provided Brian and I some materials, and then I know John had also got some information, and we wanted to support it, but there was one potential addition to the project that involved a multi-use pathway south of 42nd Street all the way down to 38th Street. It would be built on the west side of Clarendon in the Crown Hill right-of-way, and it would be basically a wide sidewalk for walking, biking, running, and would lead down to Crown Hill and also connect with the new sidewalks at 42nd Street. That was like a proposal as part of the project, and I suggested that as part of our support for this project that we encourage DPW to proceed on that aspect of the project so that there's that connection for folks south of 42nd Street and provide that kind of access to Crown Hill. I drafted up a letter kind of for Brian's signature, kind of outlining that as well as our general support for the project. But I also kind of detailed that to John and was hoping that he would support that as well, the inclusion of the pathway.
What a wonderful idea, because that's always been a problem when you go down Third and you're walking into the street.
Yeah.
And if you have the sidewalk, part of the reason they walk in the middle of the street is because of drainage. and, water, et cetera. So it'd be awesome.
Yeah, having a pathway in that stretch from 38th to 42nd would be a fantastic addition, especially for, I don't know if anybody runs or bikes over at Crown Hill like I do, but, well, I was going to say there's always terrible potholes in that section, but those are going to go away because they're repaving. But still, it'd be fantastic to have, be able to walk your kids, your dogs down that stretch. So I would support that, and I hope that DPW would push that as well.
Any other comments or thoughts with that program? Okay, I'll go forward with that recognition. I'm happy to answer any questions if folks have.
John, do you want us to, I have that letter. Do you want me to have, you want Brian to sign that? And
Please,
submit that
if
as
you give PDF instance.
Yeah, I will. I'll take care of that this week.
We were talking 243 earlier today, and it was kind of a question for the thing that made you go, In the area of some schools, we have 25-mile-an-hour school zone area section. Is there a reason why none of those exist around 243? If you don't know.
It's just a sign, right? It's not blinking. Is that what you're
It's
saying?
a-
It went up from there, Governor's house. It went
Slow
on
down.
46 by the
Have you-
Governor's house.
Have you called that into the Mayor's Action Center?
I brought it up at this meeting.
Yes.
Yeah. This has been discussed.
So it has been
The
called in.
answer we got was they ran out of money. They put in all the blinking school signs and they prioritized based on, I don't know what number of stop signs or very many cars.
So let me make sure I get this right. You're saying, and I drive by there a billion times a day, so in my mind, there's a sign there. Are you saying there's not a blinking light there to draw attention to it?
Right.
Okay.
They
It
put
blinks
in
during school time.
Like
During school
Flashing
dismissal.
school,
like
phone
2.5
lights,
years ago.
yeah.
And they did that citywide, all school districts that are touching IPS. They're all across the city. A few spots.
But ours is not, it's not blinking at all, or it just?
There's no one even there.
We don't have.
It's not even there.
I've had stuff done in Capitol, but the lights are out.
I've asked about the floor at one of these meetings. I was told that, because I couldn't understand why St. Tom's had and school for 3 pedestrians. I was told it was because the principal didn't request it.
Well, I have my initial meeting with DPW early next week. I'm putting together the priorities I have, so I will put this on that list. That doesn't guarantee anything, it just means those are the things I want them to give you that, how they want to prioritize it, but I will add that.
I would also encourage you, if you have called this into the Mayor's Action Center, giving them a call back and following up on it never hurts. I work for the Mayor's Action Center, and I can tell you that we have an escalation process for outstanding requests. Calling back, following up, it's always a good idea. And then you're also welcome to send me any of those case numbers that you might have, and I.
Sure. Yeah, I understand. Yep, I'll add that to my list.
This doesn't necessarily mean that it's a priority, but if it isn't this year, the next year, it's 47th Street between Ninthly. It's actually crap. So it's so bad.
Ma'am, can we have your name just so we have you in the minutes? You don't want to be in the minutes? Okay.
Neighborhood member X.
No, but honestly, it's almost, at certain points, it's almost crap. They're doing some construction right now, so probably wait till next year. Okay, involving.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thanks, John.
Kevin Holiday.
I'm pretty short and sweet, but I just want to kind of echo, young lady over here mentioned the app, the Request Indie app. It is very, very convenient. You can actually choose whether you want to be anonymous or you can put your information in there and get responses kind of as it progresses. Also, you can call 327-4MAC, which is 4622 to the Mayor's Action Center, or online Request Indie. Anyone writing the number down is 317-327-4622, which is 4MAC. If we don't know about it, we can't address it. whether it's Health and Hospital, Mayor's Advocate, BNS, potholes. Drive by it every day, go on there every day and put it in. If it's not fixed, put it in again. From a zoning standpoint, I think this is like the 4th or 5th month in a row we're less than a page of things going on. Everyone in this room knows there's more than 4 properties that have an issue at them. Drive by your house or your house or your house and say, oh, that car doesn't have a license plate, and stop. We respond to complaints into the mayor's action. I cover from Winthrop all the way west to the county line, 38th Street north all the way to the county line. So I'm not up and down each one of these roads every day. So you guys that live here and are here every day are my eyes and ears. So if you don't put them in, chances are I'm not going to get out. Okay. So what we do have going on, inoperable vehicle at 4. Reinspection should be in about another week. 340. They have a vehicle sitting up in the driveway on jacks. So they're in violation for automotive repair, which is not allowed in the dwelling district, and for being an inoperable vehicle because it cannot be driven if it's on jacks.
It's also sitting across the walkway. Right.
I don't recall. I had somebody else that did it. I do remember seeing it. I don't know if it is across the walk. Anything that's across the walk is either going to be right of way or IMPD. If it's not actually, if it's crossing into that right. It's like a commercial vehicle parked on a city street. We don't deal with those. Those are IMPD issues. Yes. So ideally, neighbors could handle that between themselves. But commercial vehicles are not supposed to be parked, in a dwelling district, on the street or on the property. If it's on the property, I deal with it. If it's not on the property, I do not. Yeah, I'll look into that for you on whether or not it's across the sidewalk. Those are tough ones to handle because in a lot of cases they do move. Again, fairly new. That one just opened up on the 9th of this month. So reinspection will be around the 24th. And then a property down on 38th has about 6 vehicles. He's parking multiple vehicles in his front yard, multiple vehicles in the driveway. Not allowed to park in front grass. Neighbor tried to approach him about it. He said he was going to pave the whole front yard. Not the proper solution. You can't do that either. So, and then so he's in violation for parking in the front yard. And then you have 2 inoperable vehicles, vehicles that have expired plates and flat tires. Does anybody have any questions for me? Any specific concerns? Yes, ma'am.
I made a couple of months ago, and just maybe tell me what to do, that I've sent in probably a couple of years ago to Mayor's Action Line, a question about a property owner on Rookwood that moved in and took over the alleyway and pushed their fence all the way back to the people living on Byron Avenue, and they're blocking their entrance to the back of their yard. And he's got do not enter trespassing, he's got cameras, all that up. And I understand that he got a lawyer and so on and so forth, but those are elderly people that he's backed up to that are not going to come out and fight. So what do I do?
Well, first, if you want to email me the property, I'll take a look at it.
Pictures too.
Okay. In every situation, it's not going to be a zoning issue. But when I go out to a property and I inspect it, if it isn't something that I can address, I refer it to right of way or Health and Hospital, we work with them. So I'm gonna do the best that I can to get it in the appropriate hands, in order to try to get it. I wasn't here 2 years, I apologize, but
That's okay, I wasn't here,
if you email me that information, I'll take a look at it and I'll see what I can do, because,
IPO used to be able to pull down that alleyway because there's a hole that now they can't get to. And there is an easement, but it's like a half alley. It stops right in the middle of where the fire room right behind.
and we were kind of, me and the officer were kind of speaking about alleys earlier, and, you know, they're getting overgrown, and we're trying to get DPW more involved with cleaning up the alleys, but, you know, it's 6 in one, half dozen others. Do we want them, DPW focused on our potholes, or do we want them cleaning our alleys? Well, we kind of need them both. So it's trying to help them find a balance between the two. But there's what's called the city right of way. Can't go into that. If you do, it requires a permit because of concerns like that. So
I just want them to have access and not be taken
Yes, ma'am.
advantage of.
Yep, you just email me your contact information as well as the address, and I'll have a look at it. Anybody else?
Thank you. Next on our agenda, Andrew, Marion County.
I'm Andrew Whitmire. I'm with Marion County Health Department, Housing and Neighborhood Health. We issue, what we do basically is we do housing inspections for occupied units. A lot of it is, you know, renters who aren't getting their repairs made by the landlords. Also, we do inspect for trash and violations, and it's all for private property. So we're an enforcement agency, which requires the owners to maintain their property. I do have a list of open cases in the area. I've got a few copies back there, I believe. And also I have a newsletter. It's out on there also, and it just highlights this issue is highlighting one of our partners, Indianapolis Legal Aid Society. Sometimes we're dealing with elderly people, and we try to get them in compliance with the code. You know, occasionally we'll have orders or things like that, and they're an ally who works with us in bringing those people into compliance. Chip, our Harvey Jefferson, he was the area inspector for you guys. He's actually moved to Texas, which is why I'm here tonight. We are hiring a new person at the end of the month, and so you'll have currently this area is open, but we'll have a dedicated person probably beginning of March. They'll be trained and out in the area again. So that's what I've got, unless there's any questions.
All right, thanks for the info.
Yes.
Because we have an issue. We live on that alley.
So
We're down there atrocious. It's garbage and trash away from Dollar General stores. Mess.
Yeah.
And then the people that live back there, the alley, we live up this way.
Yeah. So yeah, and so how when we cite for alleyways, the owner is responsible for the halfway point of the alley. So we do have crews that cleans. How that's charged though is we bill by the parcel, and so the owner would be charged for that. We don't have crews that go down and clean like DPW does, but our crews, they do have to, the way we're structured in the code and everything, they have to charge a parcel to clean. So the owners are the ones who are required to keep the alley clean up to the halfway point. Yeah, well, I can have a,
Who would you see about the Dollar General store and the best that they make?
we issue to them a lot. If you look at their history, I'd say they've been issued to 3 or 4 times this year. You know, so that is something. I can have, what was the alleyway?
I know where you. First, you gotta find it.
What I can do is I'll have someone go down and do an alley sweep there, and they can issue to anything that they see. And then, my hope is, sometimes I understand that property owner gets upset when we do alley sweep, they have something dumped in their property. But what I hope is, bring attention to it, and owners are aware of their responsibilities, and that when they see other people and their neighbors clean the alley, they'll do that as well. Yes.
But they can write corporate, Dollar General, and complain.
They can too, yeah.
And get the address to corporate, because they're a franchise, and then maybe corporate put the deal on.
Yeah. But yeah, we do, I know that we have issued to them several times, so. Okay.
All right, thank you very much. Well, we're gonna have Brian Barr talk to us about budget.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. All right, everybody. Who wants a budget? Anybody else need one? Okay, for those that don't know, I'm Ryan, treasurer. As you look at this budget, I know Jose had some questions. Hopefully I answered those. Sort of.
Yeah, if it's a longer conversation, I just have
Okay.
a question of how it runs a lot at the end. If it seems like more based on your email, I don't know how the math works. Again, if it's a longer conversation.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, obviously today we want to try to get a board vote to pass the budget if we can. Certainly we can make modifications. I will make the disclaimer that I'm not an accountant, but I have worked with one who was our previous treasurer. So that is the first part. The second part is 2018, we decided, hey, we're going to have a 5K event and tie that to our grant program. And so we took in quite a bit more than what we spent. Year over year, let's say we take in $20,000, we spend $20,000. Usually what our organization has done for the past several years. So in that particular year, we were $8,000 black. And then as you can see in 2019, we were about 6,700 in the red, but we did forecast 6,800. So we actually came in for budget. We also budgeted about 7,500 for contributions, donations, things of that nature from what we received in those envelopes that I get every month from the newsletter, in addition to what we get in PayPal. And we had 7,600 on a budget of 7,500. Don't think I could do that again if I tried. So I do think that from an organizational perspective, we have a healthy budget. We are just under $50,000 in the bank. And again, we try to spend what we take in. You might be asking, Ryan, why do we have a $6,100 deficit in our budget for 2020? There's a couple reasons for that. One is that we spend a little over $4,000 on the 5K event. That is tied to what we take in from sponsorships, donations, which we then put out into the community. For instance, last year was $10,000. We're allocating another $10,000 based on the efforts of what we've received thus far for this year. Another confusing part, the community grant program and the 5K have been tied together. I decided that that is not a very good accounting practice. We're going to need to split those so that we truly understand. Here's what we're giving in the community. Here's what we're paying for the 5K. Because I think those are going to fluctuate over the next next few years. You know, let's say we spend $1,000 less on t-shirts because we go with another vendor. Or let's not do security through XYZ, let's go through somebody else, maybe it's only $500. You can make all kinds of modifications for an event like this. But I will say this, get more runners, pay for that 5K that way. If we decide we don't want to have a 5K, that could affect our community grant program, but it would also put us in a healthier budget. So there's a lot of things to think about as a board here. So I, open that up to conversation. But as you're looking at, I would encourage you to look at the far right column, the 2020 budget. Pretty similar to what we've spent in the past across the board. Try to be as conservative as humanly possible on the majority of this. Just because I think that's the best way to go about it for a neighborhood association. But we've included a couple things like, we do a neighborhood cleanup. We used to get donations. Tom has done a wonderful job setting those up. I've been a part of those for several years now. All new board members, highly encourage you to get involved in that. It is a great way to see what our neighborhood looks like on a daily basis, how much help it truly needs, and picking it up. So we provide lunch for all the volunteers. And that is something that I think Domino's had contributed. They kind of stopped. They had like a change in ownership. They kind of stopped. So we want to continue allocating money towards feeding those volunteers that come and help us out throughout the day. We also have the Founders Breakfast in there, which is coming up, which we just purchased 8 tickets for. I don't know how many spots we have left, but
we need to have
that's a sidebar.
Yeah, that's at the end of the thing. We're going to ask for people who want to go to that on Friday.
So that's in there. That was not previously budgeted. You'll notice there's a couple items in administration. A BTNA laptop for use by the president and vice president, and then when their term is over, they will then transfer that to the next president, vice president, to kind of keep a file system, keeping our technology from one president to another. A tent. We have a lot of events. Tarkington Park Fest, Sausage Fest, you name it. We've got plenty of things where we have tables. We thought it'd be a good idea to have some sort of Butler Tarkington tent, especially night out against crime. It's raining. Something we thought we should be investing in. The website, we allocated $1,500 that we only spent $129 on, and that was because we had grand plans to invest more in our website. During a board retreat in December, we talked about that and kind of thought, there's probably a good way to have volunteers be Butler University. There are different avenues for us to improve our website above and beyond just spending money to attack the problem. So I think as a board, bigger picture conversation, but that's something that we allocated money for previously. We're not allocating money for now. That's just basically our hosting fees that we pay for BTNA.org. Or butlertarkington.org. And then I know Brenda had brought up putting together an event where we have outreach with all of our church groups within the neighborhood. So we're starting to figure out what that might look like this year, setting aside some money for that as well. Along with Tarkington Park Fest, we want to contribute to that in many ways as we can, so we set aside some money there. So that's the budget in a nutshell. Any questions as you're looking at this? Anything that doesn't make sense? You need some clarification on?
I have a question about the 5K and the grant program.
Yes.
So there's 2 line items in the expenses. One for the 5K operations, one for community grant. Should there also be then 2 line items in revenue? We raised 10.5 from corporate sponsorship, but then we also are raising money for registration too.
Correct. So that's a good point too. Where does all the registration money go? That goes typically back to our event organizer who sets up the entire event for us, day of logistics, setting the course, handling all the registrations online, handling payment, working with
Butler University. So that is primarily where a lot of those registration funds go. And that is a good point, and I probably will split that out because it's split down here, expenses that will probably be split out as well within. But we don't really have, I don't necessarily know that we're going to allocate any revenue towards 5K and registration funds this year, which I know we'll get to that here in a minute. But I think we can allocate some money there, and it probably should be split out from an account. So that's.
So we didn't collect the 4,250. We're not collecting.
That's an expense. So that's what we're
expense.
That's what we're going to be spending
in the
in 2021.
expense column, 14,250, and then in the revenue column, it's showing 10,000. So what you're saying is that you go into the hole $4,250 to have the 5K.
That's correct.
But are Nathan's expenses included in the 4,250?
They are not. They are paid out of the registrations that we get. And if you remember in 2019, we had about 180 runners. So I think we had about $1,500, $1,600 that could have then go towards our expenses here. But we as a board decided that in the spirit of Dr. King, it would be a good move and something that we should do for the MLK Center, to allocate those funds to them.
Do most 5Ks, and I don't know, never organized one, do most of them not take their expenses out of the profit?
Depends. I mean, I think if you asked everybody who's been involved with the 5K from when we started, we would say we would have enough runners, so we would zero out. We would take in $4,250 above and beyond what the event organizer fees are, so that we would zero out. Be good as an organization, right? How do we do that? Word of mouth, pushing it out on social media, whatever we can do as a neighborhood to encourage participation through the event. So that falls on, all
So
of us, really.
what you're hoping for is what you're telling me is what you're hoping for is more revenue from the event to cover the 4,200.
Correct.
Okay, so this is just a possible budget. It's not really what might happen.
No,
it's not firm.
4,250 is probably what we'll spend.
No, I don't mean that. I meant your revenue.
Oh, revenue? It'll probably, again, these are conservative estimates, so it'll probably be higher than the $10,000 revenue line that you see in the top right-hand corner, because we have yet to take in, I don't know, Christy, maybe 1,500, 2,000, somewhere in that neighborhood. That didn't post in 2019, it'll post in fiscal year.
Sponsorships, right?
Correct, sponsorships. So that number will probably be a little bit higher. But again, trying to be conservative for hosting the race in 2021. Maybe Butler doesn't give us a $5,000 check. I don't know.
Maybe just following up with your comments, Ryan. I totally support the race. I participated greatly from all over the neighborhood. Everybody enjoys it. I think it's a great time. People out and cheer. It's great. Like I told you over email, maybe I'm campaign, but I personally struggled with knowing that we had a loss last year, and again a budget with a loss, forecasted loss this year. I know we have a reserve in the bank, and maybe the question is not what we got. Maybe the target becomes like capacity becomes like how to increase revenue, because we certainly don't want to take bad for the. We don't want to take away the race, so the goal becomes more a way to revenue. But that's how we.
Now, I would completely agree with that, and I would also say I don't like this number either. I'm trying to hit zero because that's what we've been doing for a long time.
Yeah.
How do we hit zero? We increase sponsorships, and we increase registration. That's how
We do not lower grants.
This is the third year of the race, so it's still relatively new. It's something that's growing and working to grow. And so just like starting any new business, there is really a lot in growing that. But we wanted to make sure that we were putting the community commitment first. So we have had some reserve funds, correct, that we've been able, I think that was a calculated risk that the board decided to take in starting this.
Yeah, Kelly, that's a good point. We did vote as a board to spend restricted funds if need be in the first few years, which we did not spend.
But have you put a limit to when, like, take it balanced out, at least kind of to zero, not go into the restricted?
Yeah, that's a board decision.
I don't think we set any sort of deadline like that.
No, we haven't. Yeah, we haven't said like by this, 2022, if we're not zero, then we're not hosting the event.
Well, I don't mean not hosting. I'm just saying limiting your grant.
Yeah.
So that you actually balance out.
Correct. And that, I mean, that's another option too, is to, I think we've all seen the benefits of what we're able to do with that sponsorship, with those sponsorship revenues, to put it back into the neighborhood and help out the organizations that truly need it, which I think is a big reason why we're doing this.
I've said this probably before, that I think as we move forward, we have to look at new ways to have people participate. We have to be really creative and hop outside the box. So we have all these different exercise tools coming out where they have a little workout coach on the screen in front of them. We have our kids gaming. So I think we have to involve them, and kids can participate via the internet through a game. And so we need to have a kid feed via internet. People can participate virtually. So I think we have to hop outside the box to get those dollars, and we could probably pick up $2,000 or $3,000 because it's cold, and so people don't want to come out, and it's fun.
Yeah.
And we just find ways to be competitive in a different way into participation. So I think we just have to reach way out there to find ways.
I agree.
And
think,
it could be fun.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different avenues we could take to make this zero out.
So keeping in mind that hopefully by this time next year, by the time we do it next year, Downtown Fitness will be across the street and they'll be a part of the neighborhood. So if they don't sponsor, then maybe they can do things to help us promote it, or promote like, something else as an activity. And then the other thing, I've had people that are friends that don't run and still want to get because they were connected to the neighborhood. And so I sent a question, how do you give and not register? And the answer, so that may be something we want to promote before, during, or after the.
And I'll be promoting that this week, Sabe. I'm going to be promoting that this week. I've got a series of posts going out over the next 48 hours.
Okay, so if we did that early on, then people who don't run may have made donations by now, and that wouldn't be such a deficit. I'm just throwing that out.
Yeah, I should preface saying math is not my thing. So, so if I'm remembering correctly, last year, the registration numbers did pay for the registration numbers 2019 fully paid for the 2019 race. And then we had extra that we actually gave a bonus donation to the MLK Center. Is that right?
Correct, but we ran an $8,000 surplus in 2018.
Okay,
so we decided as a board we are going to spend. We didn't spend $8,000 in 2018. I think I'd have to take a look at the numbers that I sent out, but we spent quite a bit of that, probably 6.5, something similar to these numbers here. Moving forward, but their, expenses were higher too for the race than they are now. We've cut back significantly in a lot of areas.
I guess what I'm sort of wondering about is, because I think part of the difficulty with what we're looking at here is that no one likes to be a deficit. That's never going to make you good. And I'm wondering if it's a way for us as a board to go ahead and vote. I don't know if it's not. We need to see next year's race expenses with what we bring in this year. So instead, like last year, we gave money to the MLK Center. Great, don't get me wrong, but we still need that money to put on next year's race, and it's going to take a couple of years of us meeting the following races to get to a point where we can create a budget that doesn't show a deficit. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. And our goal was to raise, more money than we've raised, but we have limited resources to do so.
Sure.
We want to have more runners than we currently have registered. That takes all of us in this room to get those numbers up. So it is, it's year 3. It's still a brand new event for us. So it is hard to project. I mean, we know what the expenses are now, especially having run it twice. The question is, at what point do we say, all right, this is where we stop, or this is our goal for 2021. It's hard to do that too. Like, we're 5 days from the race, so.
No, I just kind of wanted. Maybe we should need to think about finding ways that, I don't know, maybe actually plan for it. Whether we only, and I keep saying, but maybe we only give $7,500 this year,
right? So
that we can do it. And I don't know. It's neither here nor there. I want us to give grants. I want us to raise all that stuff. I think that it's just the optics of it.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Like I said, I want to see that number be 0. Yeah, we're going to have to find that, maybe it is cutting back on the community grant program.
I wouldn't advocate for that. I don't know if a proposal is the race is happening in 5 days. There's limited amount of work that we can do between now and the race to increase participation. So that's just not going to happen. And then maybe just as the year goes by, Brian, try to discuss how do we bring more money in, and then we don't necessarily make the decision today. Just a proposal. I don't know if this works, but we made a decision that we've got this budget, and then as the year goes by, then we make the decision. If there is somehow we do some work and we really need more money, then that's very balance. And if not, I don't know if we make a decision for putting back the those conditions.
Yeah, and one thing I want to mention, I don't want to steal the Christie's thunder, and I'm going to get to you in just a second. I promise you. Well, the race committee met prior to this meeting, and we had the discussion of, well, maybe we lump this together with Tarkington Park Fest when the weather is halfway decent in June, and we could get Midtown's help to promote it and to potentially pitch in. Maybe we don't have to pay for security if we do that. Which is that's almost $1,800 that we spend to block off all these streets. That's expensive, right? So maybe we can take away that expense in June. Maybe we'll get 350 people to run if we do it in June. I mean, I know the weather it's difficult. It's difficult to get people out when it's raining and snowing. It's just the nature of Indiana in January. So
what you're saying is you're going to have a meeting to reassess every after this race.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're, as everyone said, we're in our 3rd year of this event. Has anyone else ever organized a large event like this or a activity like this?
Yeah.
I mean, I've done stuff I was involved in bicycle advocacy where we organized rides. For the first 3 years of an event, guess what? It's just like this. This is nothing strange. So yeah, we're going to, we've only had 2 of these events. Maybe it's time to reassess. And I would encourage all the new board members who are here, join the committee.
How many people are on the committee?
I'm sorry?
How many people participate on the committee?
4.
Oh. Okay.
So join the committee, have a say, and we can, and we can definitely talk about this after. I mean, yeah, this is 5 days away, so this thing's going to happen on Saturday. But after this, we can definitely reassess and reevaluate where this can go.
Can non-board members join the committee as well? Or
Absolutely.
can you discuss
Absolutely.
it? Okay.
Absolutely.
So that might be a great way if you're not wanting to commit to being on the board. You get involved in one of our committees. Great. I just want to confirm. The 2019 raised all the money to cover the cost of the race and the $10,000 grant program.
In 19?
2019, or January 2019 raise. We raised $15,000 from corporate sponsorship, plus we had the registration money to cover.
We raised 9460.
Was there some fundraising that funded on 2018?
Correct. That was a big part of it too. I think there was a $5,000 check there.
It's hard to really calculate it based on this number, but it's coming in. A lot of that money comes in right before the end of the year.
Which is an accounting nightmare, I might add.
That's hard for me to wrap my head around. Because like I think about it like an event at a time, and instead of like wrapping around year end. And so
right.
like, I know for the 2019 event we raised like 15,500 corporate sponsorships, plus another maybe close to $5,000 from registration. So we gave away 10K, so we had another 10K, and I know we didn't spend it on race operations. So
that's why we had an $8,000 surplus in 18.
Okay.
Because we had a race in 18.
I have a last group. Like, is that something you can maybe give as a supplement to this? Maybe not for this year, but in the future, of breaking out those costs per race rather than just by budget year? You're welcome to say no.
No. I'm happy. Like Christy and I've had this conversation before. We've broken down. All right, here's what we took in. Here's what we spent. Line by line, not just 10,000 or 9460, but actually, okay, here's every dollar we brought in revenue. Here's every dollar we spent expense, and that I will happily send that out to the board after the race is over.
This might be moved now too if we move the race to the summer, like that. A lot of the budget one too.
Yeah. That's an accounting goal.
So I was thinking we could still call it the green run and have it in the summer, and then when other runs happen, we can tag along with them and advertise green run. I think we're missing out on a lot by having it in January. I understand why we would because of the holiday and his birthday, but that sounds like it's affecting how much money.
I would agree.
Okay, we'll talk about the Dream One run later on this year, but
so in terms of
the budget approved.
In terms of the budget, from what I've heard, splitting out, Christy made a point, let's split out revenues between the 5K and the community grant program. It's going to look very similar because I don't think we're going to really allocate a lot of revenue for the 5K specifically, more for sponsorships. But splitting that out. But does anybody else have any, like, I don't want to BTNA 10, or I don't like that you spend $1,300 on insurance. Is there any of that we need to cover? Good. Any other recommended changes?
What's the other $1,000 for printing it?
So I send out a personalized letter to every donation that we receive for their tax purposes, and then we also pay for all of the envelopes that go inside of the newsletter. So those are those combined. Those all have to be printed, and there's quite a few.
Do you know what a return rate is? Get back yearly basis.
So we had $77,612.07 in contributions. About 1,600 of that was through PayPal. So 5,000 roughly is what we took in. The donations, the newsletter.
The year we took it and looked back into the newsletter, we had taken them out, we saw big bump up in our it's more than $1,000 revenue back from the.
But I do want to encourage the fact that we have a pretty healthy. I mean, we usually fluctuate in the 40 to 50K range in our bank account and our balance, and that never really gets too high or too low. That's about where we're at, and that represents 7,000 of that is restricted funds, which that's a whole other topic for a whole other discussion. But I think we as an organization are smart about saying we don't want to see a $6,100 deficit every year, but we might see that this year, and then how are we going to make changes to make sure that number's zero in 2020?
No, I just.
Let's get a motion on the budget.
Second.
Andra moved, Ashley seconded. All in favor of passing this budget as described by Ryan, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
And the budget's been approved.
Thank you all.
Ryan, thanks for the work.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
Um,
Can I still do a little dream run?
Yeah, let's just.
Okay, just quick update on the dream run. So this year, I think as we're talking about budget, we raised 10.5 from corporate sponsorships this year. Last year we raised 15. The deficit is from Meridian Street United Methodist. We had a board member who was on the board last year, and he secured a $5,000 donation, and this year they gave us a $1,000 donation. So that's the deficit, where that came from, and then we didn't make it up from other resources. So that affects how much money we're able to spend on marketing, and why you don't see yard signs everywhere this year like we had last year. So we'll be looking for some support on the Dream Run fundraising committee for the 2021 race. Anyone would like to volunteer, welcome your so with that said, I want to quickly thank our corporate sponsors this year: Butler, Meridian Street, of course, MHS Indiana, Crown Hill, Burns Pizza, Kelly, Lavender, thank you. St. Paul's Indy contributed again. We brought Marian University on, and of course our friends at National 38th Street. Much. Today we have just 70 runners registered. So I'm leaning on the board to please push out communication about the run through your social channels and other networks. You should all be aware we have a Facebook events page. Share that, but we need to bring that registration number up. I'd like to see at least 100 registered for the event here. I also need volunteers. So we put out if you're running, that's great. Ed sent out an email to request work with volunteers for the event, and I forgot one worker. And yeah, I need people to line the course.
Okay.
And so I just need bodies.
So there should be somebody that are gonna show up Saturday, like no fun. So I don't know how many, but they're coming.
Okay.
So
I need 8, 10 more.
Where are we meeting, Chris?
Here at 8:45.
And there will be coffee and donuts.
Rise to fun.
But like,
Infinite.
the volunteers we do have are just, they're like my friends, my family, but
What is volunteer actually?
so we're,
Data corner and distract traffic.
we need, no, seriously, we need people to line the race course and help direct the runners to keep them on.
And water station. We have water stations.
We have a water station.
At Butler again?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you've got neighbors who want to get involved, like I need names. We're in crunch time now. Yes.
Butler volunteer me go.
So we lost our Butler connect. And so no, we do not have I have a call out to Coach Hamilton from the Steelers to try to get some of those folks to show up, but we cannot expect Butler all team to show up like that.
Hopefully at the bus again.
No, they're not coming.
Oh, okay. So, Chris, you figure the race would be how many hours? About.
No, I mean, it's a 5K, so like the course should be clear within an hour.
Okay, I'll try this.
Yeah,
And I'll
8:45 here, 8:45, and then you should be home by 10:30.
Oh, that's right.
Thank you.
I don't even know, I don't have.
Okay.
Did we start advertising this earlier last year?
Yeah.
There was already social media posts going out back in the beginning of December, and we've had social media posts going out regularly. And who here has a Facebook page? Okay, I've only seen a few people here share it. So go on, when you get home, go to your Facebook page and share the event. There's multiple other posts on there as well. There's also posts on Nextdoor, so if you can go in there and like those, and if you can share the Instagram posts as well, that would be fantastic. I mean, do anything you can over the next few days. We're also going to be sending out some posts thanking our sponsors over the next few days as well.
I mean, for 2021, we just need, like, we lost half of our dream run. They moved. And we didn't get anybody to fill in the blank. So, like, we need more. Thank you. Great, thank you. It's a lot of heavy lifting for, 4 people with full-time jobs. But, I mean, we can do it. We just, the neighborhood association is good. Yeah.
I just want to say that Mike just
yeah.
So some of the other people, like,
Yeah.
We talked to Alton about the education.
I think we used them the first year and they weren't responsible last year. And so we'll hear them there at the end.
Yeah, they were down at the water station.
Any questions?
Is there anything else we need besides volunteers on race day?
Or runner.
More runners?
We need help promoting in the next few days and
Did we share it to the neighborhood, neighborhood association?
We did with Temerity and Kessler.
There's been, the Nextdoor posts have been open to everybody. There's an event that's open to all the local neighborhoods, as well as the posts that I've done have also been open to all the local neighborhoods. It's not been limited just to Butler Truckington. Yeah.
Maybe we should share to the presidents though, Crown Hill.
I sent Chelsea, I sent Chelsea an email directly.
Okay.
I'll try to track them down tonight.
Can we do a couple lines standard, please, with your share? So we have this number of runners. We need it for this reason. So when we reshare it, there's a kind of a blurb with it in your comment area.
Mike.
On Facebook.
Facebook counts.
Excuse me.
Well,
when or like.
So you mean just like I just post up a Facebook post saying, hey, we need this number of runners?
Well, and talk about, because it's advertising it, but when you put it out there, they're reading that it is but to let them know where it's going.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
So-
they know it. In each one of my posts, it's detailed, you know, where the money's gone, that goes towards our community grant program. In fact, some of the posts I've had include Brian holding the check with various groups.
Maybe that needs to be reshared this year, because I know it was on there last year, and you have to go look for it, see it.
Yeah.
That-
Yeah, I mean, I've been, like I said, there's been a lot on social media. I mean, if anybody else can share from their personal feeds, that's fantastic. Like I said, I have some posts going out tonight. I'm gonna have some more posts in the next few days. So, but my reach is limited to those people who have liked Butler Tarkington. If anybody else, if we want to see this go beyond that, we need everybody else in sharing with their networks. We have been, yeah, on Facebook. Our event's been boosting for the past week and a half.
Because the algorithm that people are following on that.
Yeah, and the event's been boosting, and it's still got another 3 or 4 days left to boost, and it's been reaching quite a few people.
So I'm gonna share it in a couple of at least knowing about it. I mean, I know. Just one of the things I think. Look the way that they not how people.
I think it's a good point too, pointing out. So yeah, we've been doing a lot of social, but we mentioned it in the last 2 newsletters. So it's been in print also. So it's gotten it in your inbox at your house. And then we've also mentioned it in the last few meetings. So social's great, but the more anyone else thinks what you're learning in this meeting, also share with your networks as well.
Okay, thank you, Tracy.
Hey, Tracy, I know we gave you, I feel like, maybe a time in the event because we want to, you all appreciate it, or we all enjoy it.
Thank you for saying that.
We really appreciate it.
We'll get it showing earlier next year, and seriously, I would like more people at the
I
table.
know, thanks, especially with a limited committee, it's just like that.
Thanks.
Okay, Tom Bell is going to talk to us about our focus on our neighborhood.
Yeah, hello. I help organize the neighborhood cleanups every year, the last couple of years anyway. And first year I did it, we were about 3 cleanups. I think we went to that. The tons of gathered at Brian's help. But
yeah, the one got started.
And I appreciate that. That's a lot on a rainy day. But late last year, I applied to be a focus neighborhood at KIB. We were chosen for October 3rd, which means that they're going to give us, they say, possibly 200 volunteers for that day. And we have many opportunities for the project. I have a few projects already listed that I talked to KIB about. I'm going to meet with them again in May. I wouldn't mind a couple more Butler neighbors to help me out. And here tonight, just so we can all start thinking about ideas. The Arts Council of Indianapolis might was with a mural. I've been trying to go around the neighborhood and try to figure out where a mural is good at. I'm going to talk with the food pantry and see if maybe instead doing some construction siding work, that perhaps a mural would be nice there. The only problem I see with that is it's south facing. I don't know if that would be good. But I would appreciate if anybody like my contact information. I'll be out afterwards. Happy to give you any contact information you would like. Yes.
What projects you'd like to do? What were those already?
Well, my main and big one, which I've been told is a pipe dream, but I've already talked to IPL personally, and I've emailed them. There's an old substation on Cornelia's 42nd. They say they maintain it. I'm probably going to clear it. It gets polluted. But I think it could be beautified, or perhaps a parking lot for business. If it's polluted, they can't have houses. Perhaps they can catch it with concrete, something.
Just one quick thing. So Indiana Department of Environmental Management, I did a project with students, and they researched brownfields, and they will come out and study the property. And I think they do it free. And they will give you kind of resources. This is what you can do because it's contaminated with this or not.
That'd be great.
But Kyle Kendrick, I'll try to find it.
Hey, can I give you my contact?
Absolutely.
And then other board members have mentioned some parks, Andrew Ramsey Park, and then another park across Cornelius, north. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name. But perhaps needs some plant. We also have ideas for more trees. Anything that you guys can think of that you've seen AIB do, we can do in our neighborhood. It can be an all-day project, and even considering talking to the businesses, if we can do a festival that day as well.
In April?
We're still going to do a cleanup. I haven't gotten a date yet. I haven't released it in the AIB, but we'll still be doing a cleanup in the springtime, and possibly another one in the summertime. Like they heard about the alleyway. I report so much. I use that app, Indie Request, all the time. Dozens and dozens, just doing everything I can because the more we look, as you know, the more they do. I had a couple of potholes in my alleyway. I reported in November, and they actually filled them within 2 weeks, which I've never gotten that kind of action. So I can only think we can find it. That's all I got.
Thank you for all your help, Tom.
Thank you. Like I said, if anybody wants my contact information, I'm glad to give it to you afterwards.
Hey, can I mention something real quick with that?
Yeah, also we can actually use some more committee members as well. I have one, Jeffrey is me and Jeffrey, the only one from this board that is on my committee. The rest of them are from UUI Church and Unitarian Universal of Indianapolis. And they're great, but they don't live in the neighborhood. If anybody would like to join this committee, we're going to meet in May, that's Cinco de Mayo. I think it's 11:15 at KIB with the RN5.
This is a big event for this community and for the KIB thing is that they want to make this to where it's city oriented. I had talked to the lady that was here, Abby, earlier, and we talked about corresponding it and making it big. This is something big that the mayor and a lot of people want to get involved in. And we've done some things that I've done some research on other communities that have done this program. That's why I mentioned it to Abby. So if we want to beautify this neighborhood, we all have to participate to make this thing happen, not just volunteers because they can get us 200 volunteers, but the 200 volunteers don't live in Butler Tarpon. So in order to make this happen, we have to make it happen. And that's part of it. And that's what the main thing what Tom set out to do. So let's not rely on 200 people from another neighborhood to come into our neighborhood to make it better.
Yeah, I would like to match that 200 with 100 of us. 100 of the neighborhood. That's what we're asking you to do as well. And like I said, my idea about that substation, IPL is partnering with KIB on it. So this would be a great opportunity to make them look good and actually do something with that ugly site. There's a lot of garbage that gets thrown over that fence, behind that alleyway.
Because they're using it as a dump site.
Exactly. Right. If it's a parking lot, we could use it for businesses, for hamburgers or park. We could use it for our cleanups, like right central in the neighborhood. But like I said, KIB or IPL doesn't seem interested at all. We just maintain it. So thank you.
One really quick thing before we wrap up. Our meeting in February is February 10th. I've arranged for DPW to come and present about the flood wall, provide an update on the flood wall, what the status of it. I mean, it's pretty well completed at this point, but also there's been a lot of questions coming into our email account about status of insurance, things like that. So there'll be some information about that posted to Facebook after the dream run. So if you know anybody who lives along Westfield Boulevard or is impacted by the flood wall, let them know that there'll be a time for questions next meeting.
Have we got somebody from Indigo? Plus Corner?
No.
Illinois?
No.
Another thing, School 40, I'm sorry, School 43 is January the 24th, Friday at 2 p.m. They had, the book drive was a real success for the library, so they're having a Read, Lead, Succeed book drive celebration, and everyone's invited. And that's on January the 24th at 2 p.m. at School 43. John, we have Senator Rumpelstiltskin here. Anything you want to tell us what's going on down at the State House?
We're just getting started, so if anybody has any, I'll hang around for a little bit. Anybody has any questions or anything, let me take a quick show of hands or something. Governor's going to have the addressing the state tomorrow night, and one of the agenda items is hands-free devices when you're driving. So how many are in favor of that? In other words, hands-free when you're driving. Use your hands on that. Okay, thanks. Just one more.
One more. Make sure those teachers get a raise.
Yes.
Yeah, working on, I agree with it.
This year.
Get those teachers a raise. It's ridiculous.
This year.
This year, not next year.
Still working with the governor on that.
Okay,
One quick question. I just asked again that we find a time to meet, to talk about all the things that we have going on and the committees that are available for people to join. So I still don't know all the committees or all the people that are part of the organization, and I think some people might not know what to join or focus their energy on if they don't know what.
I was going to send out an email about that after the dream run, about how perhaps we had talked about cutting down the number of public meetings we have, like maybe every other month, and then in between having board-only meetings so we can focus on our committee activities. After the dream run is done, I was going to send out an email about that and kind of gauge what people were thinking, because so we can get more people engaged in the committees in the off months when we're not doing public meetings. But that's just a proposal. We'll talk about it on email though. So I think that would be a good idea. But.
Okay, want to thank everyone. Matt.
I just had a quick question. Does anyone know why the CVS pharmacy closed on 38th, the one on 38th Street? And,
there was some discussion about crime.
Yeah, just like the officer, assistant chief said, you know, they made it was a business decision, you know, with all the shoplifting and everything.
They closed several.
But not only that, you know, Walgreens, and they are closing other CVS's too.
are they going to close the entire? I mean, I know the pharmacy is now.
No, the store is closed. The store closed January the.
Oh, the whole store.
The store is closed, been closed for about 2 weeks now. Can we get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Get it, vote?
Second.
Okay, thank you. February 10th.
Hopefully that can be on video.
Right. On the record.